On November 22nd, Saturday, a 19-year-old woman by the name of Tachibana Ayumi was attacked in Sumiyoshi-dai, Minato Ward, Himeji City, Hyogo Prefecture. Her face was then beaten so badly that it was almost unrecognizable, and her lower abdomen stabbed. She was my friend. She was 3 months pregnant. They said they found the DNA of several different men on her. They say that the men probably did this after mercilessly attacking her. I won't let them get away with this. I will kill them and make them feel even more pain than my friend and her child experienced at their hands. And so I decided. Using a computer program, I made a list of all possible suspects. But that alone isn't enough to find them, so I plan to keep searching through email and kill anyone I think is suspicious. If you see this email, then you must pass it on to 9 people within 24 hours. The location of any computers, mobile phones, or PHS portable phones where this message stops will be deemed suspicious and the owner killed. The detective agency has the latest technology on their computers, and they're able to tell whether you have passed this message on or not. Whether you believe me or not is up to you. But I will automatically kill anyone who doesn't pass this message on. A man who made fun of this message and didn't send it to anyone was attacked on the street. His lower abdomen and genitalia were cut off. On the same day, 2 university students in Kawaramachi, Wakabayashi Ward, were also killed in the same way, with their heads badly beaten and their stomachs torn apart. The program is unstoppable. If you send this message within 24 hours, my program center will contact you via mail or mobile from a silent number with a single ring. If you see that, you have been removed from the list. But if you don't, you will receive 2 calls 3 hours before the time is up. 2 hours before, you'll receive 1 call. Even if you are a woman, the result will be the same. At present, we are targeting 280 people. Of those, 14 have been attacked. We will keep you updated. I seriously almost died on April 10th, so I'm sending this. Tatsuya. It's just a chain mail, but I really did receive 2 calls. I'm scared, so I'm passing it on. Sorry whoever receives this. Enko. I'm not kidding. I really got the call. I'm terrified. Sorry, I'm passing this on. A-chan. I'm doing this so that girl may find peace. I didn't believe it either, but I also got the 2 calls and it scared me. So I'm passing this on. I sent it. Sorry. Hello and welcome to Toshiden, exploring Japanese urban legends. I'm your host, Tara A. Devlin, and on this show we'll be looking at different urban legends from Japan, how they came about and, when possible, the truth behind them. If you want even more urban legends, make sure you pick up Toshiden Volume 4 for even more terrifying tales that you can find only in the books. And if you'd like early access to both this show and Kawabana, or you'd just like to support us, you can find our Patreon at patreon.com/TaraADevlin. Thanks, guys. The Tachibana Ayumi chainmail is considered to be one of the most famous, and perhaps even the standard chainmail from the late 1990s and early 2000s that set the tone for all who followed it. It purports to be from the friend of one Tachibana Ayumi, a 19-year-old woman who was attacked in Himeji City by numerous men and then killed. In order to find justice for their friend, this person has created a computer program to narrow down suspects. By sending this message and spreading the info far and wide. It will consider anyone who doesn't pass the message on to be suspicious. Those people will then be killed. This chainmail goes a step further than your usual pass this on in the next 24 hours or bad luck will befall you. This one straight up promises to kill you. This chainmail is believed to have first spread over the internet in 2001, although it's interesting to note that the date given in it, November 22nd, a Saturday, could only have taken place in 1997. Interestingly, there are numerous variations of this chainmail out there, as is to be expected with a message that was passed around so much. Another version lists this attack as taking place on June 9th, Thursday, which could only be in 1994 or 2005, and changes the location to Miyagi Prefecture from Hyogo. In fact, many believe the Miyagi version to be the original chainmail, and if the date comes from 1994, that would make sense. Evidence of this version also exists on the internet from 2001, so that would make the 2005 date simply unfeasible. Some versions of this chainmail also use another name, such as Watanabe Chieko or Sato Mako. As is common with these sorts of chains, over time, details can change slightly, but the Tachibana version remains the most common. Aspects of this chainmail may also bring to mind the packet charge legend, which claims that people who don't forward the message will end up being charged for all the times it has been sent before them. Naturally, that legend wasn't true, and this one isn't either. There's simply no way to tell whether someone has forwarded a message or not, but at the time, with these sorts of technologies being rather new, it was much easier to prey upon people's fears to get them to keep the chain going. Naturally, any sort of analysis of this chainmail immediately renders it fake. First of all, the opening line gives us a name, date, and location of an apparent brutal murder. So brutal and horrifying that there's simply no way it would have escaped the public eye or the national news. Of course, no such incident was ever reported, and not a single person has ever come forward with any knowledge of the supposed crime. The message also claims to have used a computer program to create a list of suspects. Again, this is nonsensical. What program? How? What are the parameters for being a suspect? If such a thing even did exist, which the police would no doubt jump on, then why not take it straight to the police, rather than randomly emailing it to people in the hopes of finding the people on the list? There's no way to track the location of people who receive the message either, let alone tell whether or not they have forwarded it to the right number of people in the right amount of time. The message itself is also full of inconsistencies and contradictions. Why does the message mention that even women will be killed when the attackers were men? Some versions also list the date of the people who died by not sending the message as taking place the very next day after the attack took place. If you have 24 hours to send the message, but 3 people died the very next day because they didn't, 3 murders that, again, were never reported, well, not enough time had even passed. It makes no sense. The message also mentions my program center, despite earlier mentioning that the messages are being sent by a detective agency with the latest technology. It's not even that lengthy of an email, yet it can't keep its simple story straight. And if you're an older gamer, something about this email might have already stood out. The name Tachibana Ayumi, actually comes from the Famicom Detective Club game that came out in 1988. An intriguing coincidence. A similar chainmail exists that goes as follows. This mail is being sent so I can find and kill the trash who forced my daughter into a car on the way home from a club in American Village on March 15th and assaulted her. If you receive this, please pass it on to 3 people in the next 2 days. I have hired a specialist to perfect a system so I can see where the mail is circulating from my home PC. I know where it is right now. If you don't forward this message, you will be recognized as the culprit. Those who do will receive a single call from an unknown number within 24 hours. I'm not lying. A 19-year-old fool who didn't forward this message was hit on the head from behind on March 31st and died. I don't want any further victims to appear. Evidence of this particular chainmail exists from at least 2000, with messages on Go Channel from March onwards talking about how my friend just received this message on their phone. Numerous comments also remarked on how this type of chain was getting old now, meaning that these types of messages were already rather common at the time. At any rate, while these types of chainmails no longer circulate, the Tachibana Ayumi version was undoubtedly one of the most common at the time, and it's not hard to find traces of it online even today. And that brings us to the end of this week's episode. You can help support us and get early access to both this show and Kawabana over on our Patreon at patreon.com/TaraADevlin. And if you still want even more urban legends, Toshiden Volume 4 is available right now, so don't miss out. Thanks guys, and I'll see you again next time for even more Toshiden, exploring Japanese urban legends.